Hi everyone. Yes, I am finally back. Before I get started, let me apologize to all of you for it being so long since I have posted a video. I had no intention of taking a major long break like that. My personal life has just been really crazy for the last 2 to 3 months. Just a lot of different things going on, and I have not had a chance to paint, much less make a video. So I am going to try to start carving back out some time to make sure I can get back at it. I've really missed painting. I've really missed doing the videos for all of you. So this one is I'm gonna do this one sort of like a beginner's video. So I'm going to just run through things more step by step than I do a lot of times. During the time that I have not been posting videos, I have still gained over 1,000 subscribers. So I know there's a lot of new people out there, and welcome to all of you. Thank you for subscribing to my channel and taking your time to watch what I do. So I'm going to start with the basics, and hopefully even those of you who have been doing this for a while, hopefully that will help you a little bit. Let me also mention I always keep a list of some of my most used supplies in the description box that's under the video. It's a drop down description box. If you just click on the video title, like while you're on the page where you're watching it, it should drop down or open up the description box down below the video, and you can see Amazon affiliate links. So I do get a few cents when you purchase something through those links. But those are my most used things, and I still get asked constantly about the tool that I'm using to move the air. There is a link to this in the description. In the description box, so you can see exactly what it is. You don't have to use this one. You can use whatever you want. I prefer this because it has a cool setting. The cool setting on this is not actually cold. It's not even really cool. It's more like a lukewarm, a little bit on the warm side. But it keeps the alcohol from drying quite as quickly. It gives you a little more time to work with your ink and alcohol. This one that I use is just a Revlon brand hair dryer. It came with a round like curling brush attachment on the end of it. I think it was called a styling brush or something like that. I just took the brush attachment off the end and use it that way. This is 500 watts. So if you're looking for another brand, you do not want to go over 500 watts. Because even on the cool setting, it blows like it's on high on this. And if it were any higher, it would be really difficult to use to paint with. So I would try my best not to go over 500 watts if you're looking for a different brand, or if you're in another country, cannot get this one. There are some others out there. I should have looked this up before I started. I believe it's Tresemme. I believe in Europe there is a Tresemme one that is a 300 watt one that's very similar to this, which would be excellent to use. Alright, so this is what I'm using, because I do get every single video, and even while I haven't been posting videos, I've lost track of how many times people have asked me what the tool is that I'm using to move the air and where they can get it. So I got this off Amazon. That's what it is, Revlon, styling brush, hair dryer with the brush attachment removed. Okay. Also, this is Jacquard brand Pinata. It's a metallic brass color. This is what I use in place of gold. I don't like using the other mixatives, the metallics. They just don't work like this does. This Jacquard Pinata. The Pinata alcohol inks they're very good. The colors, they have some beautiful colors in there. They're very pigmented. You really don't need to use much of those at all to get some really vibrant color. The Pinata and the Tim Holtz is generally what I'm using these days. The Tim Holtz Ranger. So this is the Pinata Brass. Because obviously it doesn't have a dropper tip on this, I get it in big bottles because I use a lot of it. It's like 4-ounce bottle, I think. I put it in this little needle nose dropper bottle. Let's see if you can see that. It's just got a little rubber cap on the end. Just got a little sharp needle nose tip on it. I do not mix it with alcohol or blending solution or anything like that. This is just straight Pinata Brass in this bottle. So that's what that is if you see me pick that up. This is isopropyl alcohol, nothing mixed with it either, just straight isopropyl alcohol. I'll show you the bottle that I use. I just got this off Amazon. This is 100%. I was lucky to get hold of 100%. So whatever you can get, as long as it is 91% or higher for the isopropyl. If you use anything lower, you're going to have a tremendous problem with water beading on your paper. And you're still going to have that problem at times anyway, because that just happens. Sometimes it's the humidity, but the higher percentage of that your alcohol is, the less difficulties that you'll have with it. So if you can find 99 or 100%, I would go for that. If not, as long as it's 91% or higher, it will work pretty good for this. So just make sure that you don't go below 91% though. So it's another just little needle nose. My hand out of the way so you can see the little needle nose dropper bottle. That's what I put my isopropyl in. The colors I have laid out today, just went with some summery colors today since it's August. I've got Sunshine Yellow, Flamingo, and Valencia. These are all Tim Holtz Ranger colors. I really like this line. There's a lot of great brands out there. Copic and, like I said, the Pinata and then the Tim Holtz. They're all very good alcohol inks to use. This is a 9x12 sheet of Grafix Opaque White Craft Plastic. You can use Yupo paper for this. Yupo's a little more expensive. The Grafix, you can get it from Amazon. You can get it from joggles.com. I tend to order mine from Joggles because they have it in 25 pack. They have the 9x12 and the 12x12 in the 25 pack, and you do save some money buying it that way, and it's cheaper than Yupo. If you are just starting out and you're looking for something inexpensive to practice on, the back side of photo paper, not the front glossy side, but the back side of glossy inkjet photo paper is excellent to practice on. Do not go out and get a name brand. There's no need to. It's expensive, and a lot of the name brands have a watermark on the back of them. So that just kind of gets in your way. But make sure you use the back side of photo paper, the matte looking side. Otherwise your ink just does not move good on that glossy front side, since it's made to absorb ink for the printer. Also ceramic tiles. Any home improvement store, hardware store that sells ceramic tile, you can get little ones, coaster sized ones, you can get big ones. Just make sure that it's, got that smooth surface on it. You don't want to get a rough, bumpy kind of tile. Get one of the smooth ones, like a bathroom tile, and you can practice on those, and then you can just wipe them clean with alcohol after that and reuse your same thing over and over again. Now this, the Grafix Opaque White Craft Plastic, will wipe clean to a certain extent. There are a few colors that kind of stain it, and I don't remember which ones they are right now. I don't very often wipe stuff off anymore, so I can't really remember which ones. I want to suggest to you all, because I mentioned in one video about colors that will separate out on Yupo, kind of break down into their individual component colors a little bit, and stain the Yupo, you know, one of those colors underneath, usually blue or reddish colors. This is how you can find out. These are both Yupo. These are my colors, some of my color swatches that I've done. I'll take and do it dark and then run it out a little bit light so I can see if it's going to stain, and I can see what colors it's going to break down into. I had a lot of comments on the video that I mentioned that with people wanting me to tell them which colors do that. Well, there's a lot of them, so I can't tell you. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole list. And I actually have more than what's on my swatches, because I need to do some new swatches. I don't have all my colors swatched, so there would even be more than what I have, most likely. Alright, so that is it. If you're just starting out, brand new, or haven't started yet and you're looking to get supplies, you know, get photo paper, Grafix craft plastic, Yupo if you want, but I would kind of recommend holding off on the Yupo. Get your high percentage alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and some ink. And you really, I mean, you only need just 2 or 3 colors to start out with while you're practicing. Pick a few of your favorite colors that look good together. If you're not sure what colors look good together, get a color wheel. That's, you know, I mean, I'm sure most of you have seen the color wheels that show complementary colors. If you're really not sure what goes good together, that's another thing I've been asked about. People wanting to know what colors look good together. That's, you know, another thing you can do is just go online and look up color things online, you know, complementary colors, and go in a home improvement store or somewhere they sell paint and look at the color swatches for their paint in the store, and, you know, go by that, hold them up together, see what looks good together, see what colors you want to get. Alright, so I'm going to get started, and I'm going to do this completely, not live, but, you know, I'm going to talk as I do it. I'm not going to do a voiceover today, because I did want to do a little more kind of step-by-step, explaining a little bit more as I go along, for those of you who are just starting out, or those of you who may be having some trouble. Okay, you can tell I haven't used my ink in a while. That one dried up. If you have trouble with that, by the way, if your ink lids are on tight, once you get it off, make sure you clean it. I don't know if you can see this. There's little bits of dried up ink that will get on your paper as you're getting the ink out, and it will, if alcohol hits it, you're going to have these weird little excuse me these weird little spots on your paper from the thing. See how much ink was around the edge of that one. I was sloppy with that. Every now and then you really need to wash out your lid and wash around your bottle. Just take a little alcohol and wash it out. Alright, there are a few different ways that people do this, at least a couple to start out with. Sometimes people will put down a drop of ink and then the alcohol. Some other people will put down the alcohol first and then a drop of ink in it. I can't tell a whole lot of difference either way. It's kind of just whatever works best for you, which you'd rather do. Now, if you're using Yupo, you might want to put the alcohol down first. That might help keep you from having such a little stain on your paper. I have a tendency to put my ink down first most of the time. Metallic. Alright, so with the metallic, you can either put it down as you're working your ink, or you can go back and do some things with it afterwards. I think I'm going to go ahead and put this down as I'm doing the ink. And so here's another lesson. Things like this happen. This is one reason I keep paper towel handy. But if you end up with marks on your paper from ink or something, just a little cotton swab with a little alcohol on it and they will rub right off, except for Yupo, which will probably stain whatever your color is, but you can at least get it lightened up. And I've actually done that before and just sort of incorporated it into the painting where it's stained at. So, alright, let's try this again, see if I can do it without making a mess. So what I'm going to do is put down 1 drop of ink and then 1 drop of the metallic, the Pinata brass. Make sure that you shake it up really good before you use it, because it does settle to the bottom of the thing. Alright, now this, I just put down a squirt of alcohol, I don't know how else to put it, and then start moving it around a little bit. Alright, I want to show you all. If you heard me switch the dryer, I switched over to hot for just 1 second and then back. I don't know if you can see where I'm getting these little bitty spots in here. These are the water spots that I was talking about. Red inks are the worst for that for some reason. The ones that have red in it, it's got to have something to do with the makeup of the ink itself. It just has more of a water content than some of the others. That's the only thing I can figure. Alright, so I dried that, and this is very light. I'm sorry, I should have picked a darker color or else used a little more ink. If you don't want it, if you're using something like Flamingo and you don't want it so pastel, just use, a couple of drops of ink instead of just 1, or use a little less alcohol, or there's different ways you can deal with that. Alright, so once you've got your puddle dry here, come back to, I like to do it from the outer edge. Just put down a little bit of alcohol, doesn't take a whole lot, and blow it in so that you're picking up the ink. Alright, now I'm going to put a little more out here because I don't want it to get dry out there yet. And you're just going to work your ink kind of back and forth until you get it thinned out to the way you want it. So you see, you want to start out here so you can blow it in, pick up your ink, and then blow it back out, but you don't want to hit the dry part out here so that you don't end up with a line. If you want that soft, wispy edge, you've got to keep alcohol being the last thing on the paper. Does that make sense? I can't figure out exactly how to word that, and I'm sorry I cannot zoom this. I'm using my very old phone, which I desperately need to replace, and it won't let me zoom. The video on it won't zoom, so Alright, so I'm going to do it again over here. Not too much alcohol. Blow it in. And I'm going to start blowing it back out, but I'm going to get that alcohol out here. See how it's running into it? So that I can get that softer edge out here. Alright, one of the things a lot of people have trouble with is, these aren't too bad, but see these little, you can get these little kind of fingers in here, and you can see where it's kind of jaggedy looking there. Sometimes that happens and it does not matter. You know, if you know you're going to be reworking that spot, then it doesn't make any difference. The one thing to remember, and I should have mentioned this a little earlier, is keep this close to the paper. Okay? I mean like close to the paper. Can you all see that? I try to keep it like this. And I also try to stay, you want to stay behind your ink and blow it. You know, blow it in, and then I'm going to blow it back that way and that way. Don't, if this is the wet part, don't come in right over top of it, because if you do, it's just going to blow it everywhere. So make sure you stay sort of, you want to steer your ink. Think of your hair dryer as your paintbrush. This is what you're painting with this. So you want to use it to kind of move your inks where you want them to go, just like you were using a paintbrush and some paint. So, you want to be gentle with it, not just sort of explode your ink all over the paper. Another thing that a lot of people have asked me about how I do is the thin line in the middle of the painting. Let me find one. And this is, may not be the best example, but this is one of the paintings where you can kind of see that I ran it back up, in a thinner line in the center of the painting. So, and all that is as I come in here, I keep, like, if I wanted to make a line, I've already got one forming here. So I'll follow it along, put it up here, I'll follow it along and kind of, join it to this and make that this will be my center line, so that every time I'm blowing my ink back in, that's where I want it to go. And as it gets there, I want to blow it down so that it keeps on running farther down and making more of a line. And if you want the line, you've got to be really careful not to use a ton of alcohol, because then you end up with so much liquid on your paper that it's impossible to get it in a good thin line like that. Let's see. Thinking I'm gonna play here. I'm gonna, before I continue doing the sides there, I'm gonna go ahead and add another color so you can see how I would kind of blend the colors together a little bit. So I'm going to do a little bit of the sunshine yellow, just trying to decide where to put it. Just going to put it here. And this is another really light kind of pastel color, so hopefully y'all can see that good enough as it spreads out. So instead, I just keep kind of blowing it around in a circle because I want to get it fairly spread out right now. My initial puddle, I don't want to blow back in. I don't want to try to get a line going on my initial puddle. I mostly want it as spread out as fairly evenly as I can get it. Okay. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to work on this for a minute, and hopefully you all can kind of see what I'm talking about. I'll try to get that, you know, coming back in to form that line in the center so that you can maybe kind of see what I'm doing. But remember to keep your dryer down low. And I know some people have talked about having trouble with your paper blowing around. I'm so used to holding it, I don't even think about it. But you can always tape it to something. I mean, a piece of cardboard, a piece of tile, whatever you happen to have, a piece of wood if you want. You can always tape it to something to help hold it down. Now, a lot of times when you all see me doing this constant, you know, around and around in there in the middle, there'll be a little spot where, for whatever reason, I can't get the ink to go over and it's leaving a little circle. I use this a lot of times. This, I have been told, is called a stump or a blunt. I don't draw, so I had no idea what this was. It was just something that I picked up at Hobby Lobby one day. I use this blunt end of it though, and I'll sometimes will kind of dab before the ink dries. As soon as I notice I'm getting one of those spots, I'll just kind of dab it with that and it'll pull the ink over into it, which is, it's really handy to have something like that on hand. Before I actually just accidentally ran across these, I was using the back end of a paintbrush to do that, just the little rounded ends. It doesn't matter what you use, just something with a small rounded end on it that'll dab that up. If you've got one of those dotting tools, that'll work. All kinds of different things you can use. Alright, so, and you can see I'm getting my little trail kind of going down through there to kind of keep that line for me. I don't know what I'm getting on my paper there. Something gross. show you. This is what happens right here if you don't keep, I really wish I'd used a darker color. If you don't keep the alcohol around the outside, you can see how it doesn't have that fade to white like some of them do. You've got this definite line, because I did not come back and put alcohol on the outer edge of that, and I should have. I was too busy watching something else on the paper. I tend to be all over the place with my brain sometimes, so and I missed that was drying. But if you do that, it's really no big deal. You can always go back and just rework that whole thing again. Although if you rework it too much, it seems like your color gets lighter and lighter all the time. So I think I'm actually just going to leave that the way it is right now, because I'm going to be working right here anyway. Try and blend that pink and yellow a little bit. Now you can see, okay, I've messed up in here. It just looks terrible. So I was trying to fix it and it wasn't working. So if that's happening, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back up here, and I'm going to start again right here and work my way back down again, rather than continuing to try this in the middle, because it just keeps messing it worse. And it happens. I mean, certainly every painting that I do does not turn out perfect, let me tell you. And some of the ones that you all do think are perfect, I think are bleh, because I see all the mistakes in them that I made and things that I didn't want to happen. So that is a little bit better. I'm a little bit happier with it. One thing to keep in mind too, when you're not happy with what you've done, is no one but you knows what you wanted it to look like. So, you know, it doesn't matter. If you're happy with it, then that's fantastic. But I would almost guarantee you could show it to someone else. Show one that you're not thrilled with, someone else, and they would just think it was amazing, because they wouldn't know that that was not what you wanted it to look like to start with. Alright, I'm just gonna, since this is mostly just a try and show you what I'm doing video, I'm just gonna keep on with the orange. I thought about going back to pink, but this is the Valencia right here. I'm trying to do a tiny drop because I was trying to still keep it fairly light, since the others had turned out so pastel. See if we can keep that going a little. of the questions that I've gotten some is, you know, I tell you all to keep your hairdryer down on your paper. Trying to get it to where you can actually tell what I'm doing. Down on your paper. Well, I've gotten questions because occasionally you'll see me tilt it a little bit this way or the other way or whatever. I can't tell you when to do that. I've had people ask me when they should do that. That's something that it just takes practice. There's just times when I know if I want the ink to do a certain thing, I, you know, move it a certain way. I'll angle it a certain way so that the ink and alcohol moves a little slower or it moves a little faster or you know. And that just 100% boils down to practice. All of this does. That is the biggest advice that I can give you all, especially those of you who are starting out, is practice, 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 practice. If you turn out a masterpiece your first time doing this, well, I want lessons from you because it looks easy to watch somebody put down a drip of ink and you're watching a video and, oh yeah, I can do that. Let me just move it right there. But it's not as easy as it looks. It does take a lot of practice. So, you know, just keep at it. Don't give up. Practice, practice, practice. That's my biggest advice. Y'all can see how little ink this takes. A bottle of ink can last you for a very long time because it really does not take much. And only like 1 drop of the brass, about all it takes there too. Now there's times you'll see me use more, it just depends on what I'm doing, but for this, 1 drop is plenty. See, trying to spread that out fairly, you know, evenly, so that I don't have a really big dark patch at one end for what I'm doing right here anyway. sorry, my work tends to walk as I do it. Alright, I'm just going to leave this one as this for today. One thing to keep in mind, if you're wanting to frame a picture, you don't want to come all the way out like this. Because if you're going to mat it and frame it, you're going to lose part of your painting as you do. So just remember to, you know, don't get anything out here that you're going to want to make sure is in the picture. That one, I probably should go back and fix that little bobble, but I'm not that worried about it right now. So, alright, there you go. I hope this was a little helpful to you all, especially those of you who are just beginning. You can see how the brass, you know, shimmers and shines in there, and as I'm blowing it back in, you get some of these little fine veins, and the veins will have some shimmers of the brass in that as well. I'm happy to answer questions if you all are having problems that you can't figure out an answer to, but I'm getting a lot of questions that are actually answered on the videos, and I'm getting to the point where I have so many subscribers that it's getting very, very difficult to be able to keep up with a lot of the answers that you all are, you know, the questions that you all are answering. Let me start over. It's getting difficult to keep up with the amount of long answers that I need to give people, because there's no short answer for a lot of y'all's questions, but they are almost always answered in some video or other. Yes, you do have to seal these. There is a video, I did a video on sealing them. I used, I don't have any cans sitting where I can reach them right now, but I used the Camar varnish by Krylon. Use several coats of that. And then the UV archival varnish by Krylon. Both of these are spray-ons. The Camar will set your painting so that your inks won't reactivate. Then the UV archival, it gives it some UV protection so that the inks won't fade as fast. These are not light fast. They will fade in the sunlight. If you're going to resin, you still need to seal them like that before you resin to make sure that your inks are sealed and don't reactivate with the resin and kind of run a little bit. And also to give it that extra UV protection. I know that the resin has some UV protection in it, but I am not sure if that is to protect your painting or if it will protect your painting or if that's just to protect the resin from yellowing. So I go ahead and seal mine with both of those, even if I'm going to resin it. So I hope that this answered a lot of questions that some of you all had. Let me say thank you to those of you who have hung with me while I have been taking this accidental hiatus that I did not mean to take. I really appreciate it, and some of y'all have sent me some of the nicest messages and comments and things worrying about me, and yeah, I am fine. No, I haven't had COVID-19. I did get sick and got tested for it, but it was negative, so hopefully that was a actual negative. I don't know. But anyway, I am fine. Just a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. Things may be a little hectic for me for a while. Those of you who have been with me for a while also know that we are raising 2 granddaughters whom I also homeschool. So school is, actually we started school back, today is Wednesday, so we started school back day before yesterday. So that's going to cut into my time a little bit more, but I am going to try to be much more conscientious about making time for me to paint. And that way I can do the videos for you all. I have just not been doing a very good job of making time for me to do things like that. So just too much going on, but I am fine. I'm good. I really appreciate all of everyone's concern, and I will do my best to not let that happen again. All right, well, everybody, I hope y'all have a great day, and I will be back with you soon. Bye.